It is Sunday, the 30th of January 2022. Where has this month gone? Definitely feels like January has zipped by in no time. It feels like time is speeding up. I've got no explanation for this. This is my first video from the new spot, the new crib. This is where I'm going to be basing myself temporarily for the next 6 months. It sees me through to July. It's very calm here, it's very peaceful, it's proper out in the sticks, in the middle of nowhere. I've got squirrels jumping about outside my kitchen window, and I can hear horses going up and down the lane outside, so it's definitely rural. And it's just what I needed in terms of being able to refocus and rebalance and get some new perspective in my life and continue the work that I need to do and resolve a few family, home, personal life situations as well, which I've addressed on some previous videos. So I really want to thank again everyone for the kind support in enabling this situation and allowing me to be able to base myself here for the next 6 months and just get that therapy that I need. I am still going to be doing videos from the old familiar location, so you're still going to see that room because I still have access to that place and I'll be doing a lot of work out of there. But this is a bolt hole which enables me to escape whenever that is needed and just to resolve a few other situations. So I am just so amazingly busy at the moment. I would like to be doing more videos if I could, talking about current events, current affairs, things that are going on right now, addressing those. I just don't have the time to, first of all, sit down and create these videos, but secondly, to research all the information that's necessary to give any kind of detailed or considered commentary on it. I mean, I'd like to be doing more about the situation in Canada with the convoy of truckers out there, really taking some direct action, really providing some visible signs of pushback to the tyranny that's being faced in that nation. I hear Justin Trudeau is in hiding. He's probably gone into some bunker somewhere like the little coward weasel that he is. But so much respect for those truckers just showing the rest of the world what real action looks like and what needs to be done. I'd like to be saying more about the situation with the cases that are going on at the moment. The criminal investigation case that's been lodged with the Metropolitan Police at the hands of that team consisting of Mark Sexton, Philip Hyland, Dr. Sam White, Lois Bayliss, and that whole team there. There's a lot of disinformation about that scenario going around, lots of claims that the investigation has been shut down or was never taken on in the first place. According to the team themselves, who I've had direct contact with, that is all misinformation. The trolls have come out to play and they're trying to convince people that this case has no legs and is going nowhere. But the team claim that absolutely it's going to have to be taken seriously and it's going to have to be elevated up a few levels, and all these claims that they're putting in and the unbelievable, unending amounts of evidence that they're providing to support their case is going to have to be looked at. So if the system tries to shut that case down, they are going to have a job on their hands. There's going to be lots of questions asked if they attempt to do that. We've also got the case with Dr. Rainer Fulmich and the Corona Investigative Committee, all those lawyers, that team that he's assembled to bring about what's been dubbed Nuremberg 2.0, even though Rainer himself says he doesn't like that phrase, but we know the connotations of it. We know what we're dealing with here. So I'm really hoping that's going to go somewhere. Again, lots of Debbie Downers trying to claim that there's no substance to it and it's just going to fizzle out. But we get those all the time. Also, Michael O'Bernicia's case, the private criminal prosecutions alleging murder by the M word at the hands of different aspects of the British government. We'll see where that goes. Looking at those very closely, I would like to get more in depth into them, but as I say, I'm just so damn busy at the moment. It reminds me of my glory years as a DJ, the most successful point in my previous career, where I was having gigs and radio shows and mixes and lots of overseas travel coming at me from all directions. Not so much the international travel at the moment for obvious reasons, but I'm certainly getting out and about all over the UK. I'm getting plenty of invitations to do presentations, live talks, speeches at freedom rallies, things of that nature. I'm also getting a lot of invitations to jump on shows and podcasts as an interview guest. And of course, I'm keeping my own videos going of this nature and my Good Vibration shows, my Sound of Freedom shows, my weekly Sound of Now show. It's a very busy time. But I like being busy. I like being active. I like putting meaningful work out there. And it's just a great period for that at the moment. But it does explain why I just can't be in all these different places that I would like to be, because I do work solo. I occasionally have affiliates and associates who help me out with the odd task here and there when I reach out to them. But I don't have any kind of a team around me, and pretty much everything that I put out, I produce on a personal, single-handed basis. There's only so much one man can do, even with the best will in the world. So lots of stuff coming along. I'll address some more of that as this video continues, but the main purpose of it is that I wanted to announce the upcoming mass meditation that I propose to curate. Once again, we do these every month. The last one was on New Year's Day for 1/1. So you know what comes next, right? It's 2/2. It's the 2nd of February, which is this coming Wednesday, but this is a very special date because it's all the twos. It puts me in mind of that De La Soul record, Ring, Ring, Ring. Remember that one? Where he's given out his number on the answer phone and he says, it's 222-2222. And that is what we're dealing with this coming Wednesday. It's the 2nd of February, so it's 2/2, and it's 2022, so it's 22222. But also, I'm proposing that we harness the magical power of the number 2 for manifestation, and we hold this meditation at 2:22 p.m. So it's going to be 2222222, as many twos as you can handle. So that's Greenwich Mean Time or London, UK time. Whatever time that translates to in whatever other part of the world people watching this may be in, then please just join in then if you can, at what correlates with 222. And if you can't make it at that time at all, if 222 is just inconvenient for you, any other time on that date will be fine. The purpose is the same as ever, to get as many hearts, minds and souls pooling their consciousness in the same direction to bring about the changes and the manifested situations that we all wish to see, representing the values of truth, freedom, justice, love, because evil, darkness, lies, dystopia, deception, and tyranny can't flourish in that kind of environment, in the same way that cancerous cells can't flourish in an alkaline body. So we're alkalizing the ether to get rid of the acidic, toxic influences. And as I've said so many times before, when huge numbers of people come together and focus their will and their intent in the same direction with the same results in mind, this is definitely a force to be reckoned with. So the evildoers, the dark occultists, the sorcerers, the practitioners of black magic, do this stuff all the time. They play mind control spells on the public, and through the wizardry that they employ in shows with huge television audiences like the US Super Bowl, the Grammys, the MTV Awards, these large-scale music concerts, they're creating a two-way energy exchange with the audience. And the ingenious thing about it is they're actually getting the viewing audience to empower their own enslavement and their own mind control by giving their attention unwittingly to that which the sorcerers wish to manifest. They achieve this through symbolism. They achieve it through the visual images that they put into these shows. It's evil genius, but they've been doing it forever, and they continue to do it. And the mind control spells are being spun by the readers of the evening news on the mainstream throughout the world. They use hypnosis techniques. They use neuro-linguistic programming, these professional psychological tried and tested techniques to put the viewing public into a trance. And that's a large part of how they've been able to pull this Convid psyop off, through unwittingly hypnotizing vast numbers of people out there. They don't realize it's happening, of course, because it's all going on in the confines of the subliminal mind. And they've got master psychologists and professional hypnotists that devise this stuff. So these mass meditations are our way of countering all of that and providing some kind of pushback to all of that. It's like the spiritual, metaphysical version of these Canadian truckers sending a very visible message that they do not consent to what's being done. We're doing it in the ethereal realms. So I would like to get as many people as possible on board this coming Wednesday, 2nd of February, all the twos, 222, 2222, and all the rest of it. And let's create what we visualize, what we would like to experience in terms of our own reality on our terms. A situation that serves us and our families, so long as we're causing no harm, putting no harm, damage, loss into creation, so long as there's no injured party. This is a right for us to bring about what we wish to experience. So I would propose that as many people as possible get involved in this one. Let's make it the biggest yet. So my world has completely exploded since I put out my new book, Musical Truth Volume 3. It seems a lot of people have discovered my work anew as a result of the commentary that I've been putting out these past couple of years on the scamdemic. I've actually been putting truth alternative work into the world in terms of live talks and interviews and podcasts and my books for getting on for 12 years now. But many people are just discovering me for the first time, and they're realizing that I've got all these books out. They're like, damn, Mark's actually written a whole bunch of books. And so this has sparked renewed interest in the first 2 volumes, also to a lesser extent the novel The Cause and the Cure. But since I announced the appearance of Musical Truth Volume 3, a lot of people have wanted to get hold of that. It is designed as an A to Z wake-up guide for normies, as I've said before. It contains everything within its covers that anyone under a mind-controlled trance could ever need, to shake them up out of that and metaphorically beat them around their head with a baseball bat saying, wake the fuck up. So I've gone to great lengths to document how every single aspect of Convid is fraudulent, and I've provided all the evidence, all the citations, all the references anyone could ever need. So I do spend some time in the book going down that route. Of course, I tie it all in to the controlled music industry and talk about how it has played its role in preparing the general public's mindset for what was known to be coming. But that's the main premise of this new book. And so I'm getting a lot of invitations now to go on interviews and such to talk about this. And this is what has prompted this incredibly busy period that I've got coming up. So just to mention a couple of recent events, I was up in Runcorn, Cheshire, just a stone's throw from Liverpool last Sunday. That was a great talk event. I want to thank Mary and everyone else involved in organising that. That was a daytime event, took the family up, family day out. We actually all had a really good time. Then on Monday, just gone, the 24th of January, I was up in Chesterfield doing a talk there. Big thanks to Steve and everyone in attendance. That was a great turnout for a Monday evening. Upcoming this Tuesday, the 1st of February, I'm going to be up in Beverley, very close to Hull, for a talk for a group there at the Beverley Barn. Big shout to Joe and everyone organising that one. This coming weekend, Saturday 5th of February, hopping on the ferry and going over to the Isle of Wight. It's the latest Uprise and Shine conference. These are fantastic events. Lots of networking goes on, lots of solutions, lots of ways forward are proposed at these events. I'm going to be doing my talk on aspects of the music industry at that one, and then on the Saturday evening I'm going to be doing a DJ set. Remember parties, remember having fun. We're bringing some of that back on the Isle of Wight this coming Saturday. Big shout to Karen and everyone involved in the Freedom Network hubs for that event. Then later in February, on Wednesday the 16th, I'm going to be up at Stockton-on-Tees doing a talk in the evening at the venue known as the Porky Pint. And then the following day, Thursday 17th of February, back with my very good friends Maureen and Dawn of Truth Seekers Northeast in Newcastle, doing a talk there at the Walkerville Association Centre. So that's the next few gigs. Also want to mention the Oxford Freedom Rally, which took place last Saturday, the 22nd of January, as part of the worldwide rallies for freedom that were going on all over the world, and specifically all over Europe and all over the UK. I know there were many of these. The one in London, by all accounts, was absolutely massive, hugely attended. That's only going to grow. Imagine the spring months of this year. By the time we get to May or June, imagine the numbers that are going to be turning out on the streets of London to provide visible resistance to whatever tyranny is facing us in those months, because there's bound to be some, unless we put this control system down between now and then. We'll see what happens. So it was good to be a part of the Oxford event. That's my city of birth, so I felt the responsibility to represent at that one. Big shout to all the organisers. Great talk from Ben Emlyn Jones, great talk from Lucy Davis, and we had a little march through the city afterwards. Nowhere near on the scale of London. If anything, the numbers, to be honest, were quite disappointing. We probably got 150, 200, something like that. It's better than nothing. It's a whole lot better than things were a few months ago in Oxford. But, it's disappointing. But then again, you can understand it, because Oxford really is the belly of the beast, where a lot of this current narrative has been cooked up from. Oxford University, different aspects of it. Social engineering was perfected there. And of course, it's Illuminati Central. It's where all these elite types go to get their so-called education. David Cameron, Boris Johnson were educated at Oxford University. So it's a breeding ground for these types. It's where they get prepared for their future roles in society, which usually involve enslaving and subjugating the rest of us. So Oxford is all about that, and of course it's the home of many big pharma corporations, where many aspects of the V agenda would have been cooked up from as well. So getting some resistance on the streets in Oxford is very important, because it's a very key city to this whole thing. So that was last weekend. Many radio shows and podcasts coming up. I'll just mention a few that spring to mind. Of course, I jumped on the Sheep Farm podcast with Dom and Chris just recently. We had a chat of over 2 hours, and it was a real free-flowing conversation with many contributions from those guys as well. So always enjoy a chat with them. I was also on Simon Laurie King's podcast. That's up on the channel now. I guested on Right Now with Gareth Icke. Went into the Iconic Studios there in Derby to record that one. So my segment from that show is on my channel now. What else has been happening? I jumped on James Delingpole's podcast. Now, James is a very interesting guy. He's a name to have emerged over the course of the past year and a half, really, commenting on our shared insanity. And James has his Delingpod podcast, which has very large listening figures, largely as a result of him coming out of the world of mainstream journalism. That's his backstory. He was writing for major broadsheet newspapers, so-called newspapers, prior to all of this madness breaking. And James, to his great credit, has stepped over on the right side of history, and he's now representing for Team Truth out there on the battlefield with the rest of us. So I went on James's podcast, and that was videoed professionally by a couple of filmmakers. That show should be released on James's channel very soon. We had a really good chat. He really probed me about different aspects of the entertainment industry, and we got into some deep, dark, devastating information. And then in return, James guested on my Good Vibrations podcast, where, among other things, he gave some of his recollections of having attended Malvern College in Worcestershire back in the day with a young Chris Whitty. Whitty by name, not by nature, by all accounts. And also, James attended Oxford University with both David Cameron and Boris Johnson. and he's given his recollections of what those guys were like back in the day and his interactions with them as well. So a very interesting podcast that will be on my Good Vibrations platforms really soon. I also guested on the Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine. We always have amazing chats. Billy's a top dude. Ask some great questions. We go to lots of different places with that one. I'm going to be on Joe Murray's podcast very soon. I'm recording that later, actually. So there's going to be a few F-bombs there. You know, Joe likes to keep it real with the language, with the lingo. So we're going to have some real talk on that one for sure. And a big shout out to my girl, Emily Moyer, out there in LA as well. I'm going to be jumping on Emily's podcast this coming week. So as you can see, lots and lots going on. I am amazingly busy. On top of all of this, I'm attempting to keep on top of my correspondence. I do give personal replies to all emails received. I'm now getting hundreds and hundreds of emails a day. It takes many, many hours just to go through those and the Facebook messages. And that's before I get the time to do any of these shows or anything of this nature. I mean, I do appreciate being busy. I like getting distracted from other things that might otherwise be playing on my mind. So I certainly welcome this whole situation, and 2022 is shaping up already to be an extremely active year for me. I want my output to be meaningful and effective and impactful as far as it possibly can be, and to really make a difference alongside the many, many other activists and broadcasters that are standing up for right action and are on the winning team, the right team, Team God, Team Truth, because this is the team that's going to win. We're out there on the battlefield every single day, trudging through the mud, fighting the fight, but we know we have to do this until the war is won. The enemy are stepping up their game, as they would, because they're like a cornered, wounded, wild animal, lashing out desperately, trying to stay alive. But we've got them in the corner, and we just have to keep our efforts stepped up to continue doing what we know we need to do. All right, I'm rambling now, but you get the gist. It's all about the meditation this coming Wednesday, 222-222. Be a part of it if you can. Let's make this an incredible, world-transforming energy event. So this is a kind of footnote afterthought to the main video. I did want to mention that I've produced a free to download PDF of the first chapter of Musical Truth Volume 3. As I mentioned earlier in the video, this chapter is designed as an all-you-need-to-know wake-up guide for someone who might be just starting to show the first glimmer, the first signs of realizing that things aren't quite right in the world. And there might be more to know other than the One Direction official narrative that the mainstream media all over the world have been sticking to rigidly, without deviating one iota or asking any kind of challenging question. In this chapter is everything someone might need to point them in the right direction of critical thought and starting to consider the narrative from some different perspectives. It's absolutely rich in resources and citations at the end of the chapter showing where I got the information from, lest I be accused of making it all up. And I feel that I've done a fairly thorough job of collating and aggregating so much of this useful information that this chapter stands as an extremely resourceful document in its own right. So I want to make it available to be freely distributed as far and as wide as possible. I'll put the link in the notes below to where you can grab yourself a download PDF of this chapter, and I would encourage everyone to share it as widely as they can in their circle of family, friends, colleagues, or anyone else who needs to come over onto our side in all of this. Thanks in advance for your assistance in getting this document out.